Yo, what's up, guys? So, as I said in the title, 99% of people will probably miss the bottom. And I think this is a huge discussion to have because I feel like I'm actually falling part of that 99%. What's happening right now? We've had FUD and we've had many things that created the market to collapse. But everyone, and myself included, is expecting the market to go lower. Now, the problem with that is there's no problem with setting your orders lower and expecting the market to go down because you're prepared if it does happen. But what we're starting to get, and this is where they trick you, this is where they're doing an incredible job of making you seem like something's going to make its way down, where yet the charts are starting to gradually move slightly bullish. And the importance of this show, guys, I'm going to give you many different indicators. And we actually have 4 major bullish indicators that are possibly happening as we speak. But yet the mentality is staying the same throughout the whole of the crypto market. And it's me included. I'm waiting for a $14,000 to a $12,000 Bitcoin. But while that's happening, and why they send this sideways like this, is to keep you in that mind frame. But then what you start getting is you start getting important moving averages starting to cross each other. You start getting a gradual growth of previous resistances and start getting through these levels. Yet the mentality stays the same. So they've got a beautiful way of keeping us stuck in the same mentality, but slowly changing things in the back end. And I think the importance of today's show is to go through to see, are we falling asleep? Is the bottom actually in? Are they just dragging this sideways to keep us in that trap mentality and waiting and waiting, waiting? Yet they're doing so much in the back end and slowly, because we can't deny many buy orders over here. But you know what, guys, let me go through all this analysis, and I've got really incredible data to show you guys the last time we saw these things happen. And we don't want to fall asleep. And if the correct signals play out, we need to be ready. There is a possibility of a good Bitcoin push, and there's a good possibility of a dominance collapse. And it may be the time of we've learned keep your money in Bitcoin when the times get rough like this. But there is signals that can help us to say, you know what, it's time to diversify. This market's going to have a little bit of a relief bounce. And from that, we can make the next step. So no more wasting time. James, hit the button.
Click, click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click, click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click, click, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror, mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click, click. Enter the sniper.
Enter the sniper. Yo, Banter fam. I'm sure it's pretty weird. Like I'm sitting in a random studio, different hairstyle. I could see there's a couple comments. What's happened? The hairstyle, different background. Guys, we're shooting a new channel of mine that drops on the 1st of January. So if you had to go look at my Twitter, guys, you will see that I've posted a tweet that I've opened a Discord. Just don't be surprised. It's different content. It is completely different. I decided to take a lot of my friends and family and create this game show. And I'd actually like the community to interact with us on that game show. So if you have a look on my Twitter, and it will be below in the description, there's a Discord. It is not crypto, guys. It is not crypto. If you want to come have some fun with us and interact with us and come see what we're busy with, it's incredibly cool, and I appreciate the support a lot. Secondly, guys, if you're brand new, smash the subscribe button. Smash the like button. Remember, guys, if you're opening any exchanges or you want to trade, below in the description, we have the best exchanges. We have BYBIT, absolutely top, user-friendly. I love the platform. Great liquidity. We've got Bitget, OKX. We've looked after the FTX thing. We're making sure that everyone's on correct exchanges. These guys have volume and they are great. And we have contact with the teams all the time to make sure that we are all looked after. There are training competitions as well. There's World Cups going. You'll find everything in the description. It is suited for all of you. Let's get into it. How are we feeling, guys? We're having a good day. Do we like my haircut? Yes or no? I had to go a little bit wild. You'll see, guys. Join that Discord, and I'm going to enter you into the new world of what we're doing. This is all because of crypto, so I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much, guys. So let's jump in and let's quickly have a look at the big indications that we are starting to get. Now, I spoke about the mentality that we are all expecting lows. And you know what? We have the right to sit and think that there are more lows coming into the market. We do. It's not like Bitcoin's back at 21K or any of these sort of levels to just change our mind. The difference is, though, is when it starts to go sideways like this, you know, we sit here and think, okay, what is the two big signs? And I actually want to chat this with you guys before I jump into the charts. What are the two big signs of a bottom? Okay, especially on a high time frame or like incredible important bottom area that we haven't been for in a long time, guys. It's been a long time since Bitcoin's been at these prices. You either have a capitulation, and that basically means when price comes really fast down, it really hits the interest zone and it gets bought up in a very short period of time, just indicating that is where the larger guys, the guys with really big capital, that's the area they wanted to buy. They're always going to be smart. They're always going to outsmart the rest, and they're always going to buy extreme fear. That's the one version. Then you got the second version, where it's called accumulation. Now, Bitcoin has been at these prices before. We mustn't be surprised. Bitcoin's been at 16K and all these, a few years ago. And that could have been time where a lot of people accumulated, especially the big guys. Maybe they wanted more, and maybe there wasn't all the big guys in. And that's why when it comes down to this level, we're expecting a bounce at some point. But the second way that they do this is they run the market sideways for a little bit of time. And what it does in that time is it keeps us in the same mindset that a new low is coming, new things are happening. And in that time, they're just slowly buying every bottom. And that's why you've seen the market bounce up, come to the same level, bounce up, come to the same level, bounce up, come to the same level. Now, we were getting this at the 20K level. And for my opinion, if we had to look at something simple, just look at it in this sort of format, guys. If you had to jump to the weekly, okay, and you had to look at a simplicity understanding. I spoke to you guys the other day about the USDT chart going up and the Bitcoin chart going down. But if you had to look to risk to reward ratio, and that's just looking at me in the crypto net right now, if I had to buy here or anywhere in this range, is it more risky or is my reward way overpowered with that? And it's very simple. The way you basically do this is I'll actually find us a clean chart here and do it's important, guys. It's important to understand just the basic understanding of this. So let's remove that and let's put our risk to reward ratio tool. And we put it anywhere here, right? And what we do is we can take Bitcoin to $4,000 as a low. So I'm going way lower than what we thought. We're waiting for 10K or something like that. Let's make it for $4,000. Anywhere in that range between $4,000 and $16,000. And let's go back. Now, remember, if you're buying any cryptos for the next 3 years, you obviously believe in it. You obviously believe in the fundamentals. You're not going to buy something for 3 years if you don't believe in it. It's a very separate thing of just making money. You believe in it, right? And if you do believe in it, you'll believe that Bitcoin will go back to all-time high again in its time. Maybe 2 years, maybe a year, maybe 6 months. Like we will obviously see throughout that time. But you believe that. And if you had to have a look, even if Bitcoin had to fall to 4,000, let's say you were buying in this area right now of 16,000, your risk is, let's have a look at the risk. Your risk is 76%, cool, but your reward is 300%. And it shows if you buy anywhere here and you believe in Bitcoin, that Bitcoin will get back to those levels, you had a 1-to-4 ratio, even if Bitcoin falls to $4,000 if you bought it now, versus it going back. It just shows you, zoom out completely right now and look at the difference of risk to the difference of reward. And it will change your amount of thinking. This is how the big guys work and how they think. So for them, if they were buying at these areas, which I definitely think they were, it sat here for a while, guys. Bitcoin was at 18, 19K for a while before we dropped through it. I still believe they were buying in these areas and there were big wallets filling up Bitcoin at these times because they know the simplicity of risk to reward. That anywhere in this range, my reward is still way bigger than where it was at these times in these sort of areas over there. So it's very important just to understand that. Now, let's go back. Now, go back over here, and let's go get my charts back out. So when we start to get the second option possibility of accumulation, understand that all these previous walls and these times before we had that drop was areas of interest for guys to load up. And look how many times we would bounce up, keep coming back down to the same levels. But look how we're getting reactions. This is buys, guys. This is people loading up. And now we're at the stage where it is slightly lower, yes, but we're still getting the same thing. Same area, same area, same area, same area. Now, to sit on both sides of the fence, Maybe, yes, at some point here we go down and we do the same thing. But ultimately, what we are noticing is that we are getting areas of bigger sort of buy-ups. You can't tell me that it's retail buying that. They're so scared of crypto right now and after FTX, they're not buying those areas. So someone is buying these sort of zones. So it's very important to understand. You either have a fast capitulation, which we may get, but secondly, if it runs sideways like this, guys, things can turn very fast. And all of a sudden, it can just shift. And the biggest way to actually look at that is you look at the time of this stage over here of May crash last year. Look here. I sat here for a little while. And after that, all of a sudden, boom, markets just exploded. When price was here, this is when everyone was saying $10,000. They were saying 10K in these areas. But you don't understand the power of price going silent and price going sideways. It can also be an indication of the bottom area signal. Now let's take this into time frames and basically what the signals are. So one of the best indicators to use is the 20 and the 50 moving average. Important, very important tool to be using. And basically using them as support and resistance. But what you can see right now is Bitcoin pushed, and it did a nice push of 17,200. Okay. And ultimately it has created the first higher high. Good sign. Now, if we break something, we come down and test it, right? So here's the test of the previous level we couldn't get above, and we got rejected, rejected, rejected. We finally broke through it. Now we're coming down to test it. And this is the simplicity of resistance becomes support. Okay, now secondly, what else do we have in this area? We have the 12-hour 50 moving average. Okay, and what it's basically indicating for us is it's indicating that we have the support area here, but if Bitcoin holds this level, and it's basically around the $16,800 zone, and it holds this MA as support, it's giving us an indication that this leg is not over, and there's still momentum to come. Okay? Now, if you had to take it to the last time we had the crosses over here, we ended up getting a 10% growth in Bitcoin. Now, before I jump back into Bitcoin, let me actually show you the same date on when this happened with altcoins, and the same thing. Now, one thing that was interesting, now I was saying the last few days, and this is where I'm making sure that I don't get trapped in this mentality too, guys. We're all in the same boat, and we're all fighting the same thing. But ultimately, what I was thinking was, I don't know if this bottom is in yet. I'm nervous that it's not, because I know what could happen with altcoins if we do lose this level. Okay. And what it basically put me in is like, Bitcoin's the safest asset right now, because if the market explodes, I'm still in at least, and then I can diversify back. And if the market drops, I'm still in Bitcoin at least, which means it will get hurt, but I won't get completely smashed within altcoins. Because let's be real, guys, it doesn't matter how much money I made in the last bull market. We get into crunch time levels. You know, like where I was worth then to where now, like I have to be preserve it and protect so that I can be ready for the next bull run. I can't completely wipe myself on this whole thing down. So we've got to think smart. But what I start to see here is altcoins were actually the first ones that broke the 50 moving average. And you can see it over here on the 12 hour. It was the first one, and only here, and let's say, did we then get Bitcoin that broke this MA, and only later we got the cross. So what I'm getting to is the altcoins were actually the one that gave the leading indicator of this little push up. Now, this was the cross, what I was talking about now, and that indicated a 12% growth within the altcoins at that time. Now, let's go look at where we're at now. We broke through, right? But look how we're still waiting another few days for the Bitcoin cross to happen. Look how the cross is so near of happening with the altcoins right now. And what we're getting is the same indication that we got then, where the altcoins were the one giving us that little bit of advantage and that little bit of say. We're getting that right now. And we had the slight wick through. But if the altcoins hold this level and Bitcoin holds this level and Bitcoin decides to bounce from here, because it does have support, it does have areas, and we do have major indicators. It's showing that we're going to get a cross in these. The last time we did that, it actually gave us, let's actually have a look at that, the cross. It gave us from the 29th, it gave us 9 to 10 days of growth. Like literal growth, you know, good growth up in the market throughout those times. And now we're at the similar boat over here where it's giving us that side indication. So let's not fall asleep on that. Now let's jump back into Bitcoin. Go back into Bitcoin and let's go get basically the indication. Now, so through that time, that was great. And now ultimately we have this zone. Now I want to jump now to a slightly higher time frame because this is the big important one. Now, how do you know when you're starting to shift on the higher time frame? You basically have two major moving averages on the and you got the 200, so there's three. But the first one you have is the 20, okay? And that's this blue one that I have over here. And before any bullish move that comes, It's got to get through the 20 first. Once it's through the 20 and it gets through, then what it does is it goes to the 50. So once it breaks the blue one, the next target is to get to the red one. Once it breaks through that, you get the cross. That's when the rest of the people come in, and then you start to get the actual momentum shift. And let's actually zoom out here so I can show you exactly what I mean. So here, we broke through, hold, important, we break through the red, all of a sudden we get reaction. Okay, that was the previous. Now what we're doing here is the same thing. We got the first sign. The first sign was trend break. Okay, second sign was breaking the 20 moving average. After that, we now have the 50 moving average, which is the $18,000 zone. Now, what's so important and critical about this, guys, is this next push up. Where if things hold, if Bitcoin holds the levels at now, we're going to get that next push up. And that's where it gets extremely critical. Because what you have is you have a whole bunch of this resistance sitting over here, and you've got a very important moving average sitting there too. And this is basically going to give us the indication that either this is a correction, and we do still have that 14K, or this is an impulse. And this is the way that we get back to the levels that we haven't been for a long time, which is extremely critical. So what we need now is we do need Bitcoin on the 12-hour. Let's just jump back to the 12-hour. We do need Bitcoin to hold this moving average. Now, everyone is sitting here and probably saying, bull trap, we're going down again, we're going down again. I promise you something, guys. And I'll jump back to the charts now. You keep that mentality, and trust me, I've been in that when has Sheldon been bearish? And I've been bearish for the last 2 weeks. If you keep that mentality, you're never going to move, and all of a sudden these things are going to slip between your eyes, and all of a sudden it's going to be gone. And when it's gone, you're going to be completely trapped in previously, and you're not going to be able to get out. This is what the market does. It's incredible how clever they are with all these sort of things. So you need to understand that this is the first sign. If the markets go up from here, it goes here. And that's between 18 and 20K. 18 and 19K, sorry. And from that, we're at the major decision of, is this a correction or is this an impulse? And no one can sit here and say, because it's different, right? It's different. If price goes here, and all of a sudden we get one of the biggest catalysts, one of the biggest guys coming into crypto, you just find out that all these companies just bought. You remember how it is in a bull market. As much as there's drops now with FUD, there's pumps in a bull market with that. All of a sudden, we get there and we get a big catalyst, and all of a sudden, the market explodes from there. You know, you were aware throughout these times, and remember again, risk to reward of where you just loaded up throughout those times. So for me, next level, if we hold 16,700, 16,800, and we do need RSIs to come down. It's my only concern, is we still have the RSIs at the top. So it basically means for me, either price goes slightly higher now first, and then just settles a little bit, holds those moving averages, and then we shoot through. Or it just goes sideways now, literally for another 2 days. 2-3 days, get this down to the bottom, and then all of a sudden, we shoot our way up. We're going to get the cross in the moving averages, which we know statistically and historically, it's always been a great sign. And from that, we know now we're going to this area. This area is then going to give us a beautiful trend that we're going up there, and it's going to give us the very clear understanding. Is this a correction or is this an impulse wave? And from that, we're either getting a lot of our money out of these areas, or we're holding tight, we're diversifying into the altcoins, and we're basically prepping. Now, let me show you the next interesting part. Now, the next interesting part is us jumping on to Bitcoin dominance. Now, for me, this is also a great sort of tool to be using with the moving averages. And you could see what happened with dominance is it actually dropped 20. So remember, 20 is always your first little signal. It dropped that, then it drops the 50, then the cross happens. So remember the step. You want to catch it here. You want to load there more, and then, and that last period is your confirmation. The problem here is when you just rely on the crosses, you've missed all of it. So by you using this as support and resistance, you're catching it early. Remember, the rest of the people only react on this one. And that's usually when they sort of trap them. And now you could see what happened is since we dropped that, we tried to hold, we got rejected on the 50, and we lost it. Now look at dominance. We have a trend, which is currently going, and it respected that. It's holding it pretty strong. But now we're getting a big reversal daily candle on the 20 moving average. And if we lose this 20 moving average, and then after lose trend, and then Bitcoin decides to get the cross on the 12-hour to the upside, it's time to go to altcoins. And it basically indicates we might have 2 weeks. Everything's going, Bitcoin's going to 18, 19K. We might be selling everything into USDT by then, because that's the next important chart, is the USDT dominance. And one thing that we saw with the dominance is that it did do a double top. It did. It was in land that it's never been before. And now we did hit a double top, which could be some sort of reversal. But if we look at chart-wise, it's still kind of positive right now, and it's coming to test this. But if we lose these moving averages and we can get a big higher time frame cross, I think let's actually jump on the daily and see where we are with that. Oh, we're on the 50. So let's actually get rid of the drawings. Let's actually have a look. These moving averages are great, guys, if you use them right. The crosses are too lagged. They're too behind. So step one, boom. What's it doing right now? It's fighting. Okay? So we have a trend line and we have this 50 moving average over here. So if things play out right with Bitcoin in the bullish scenario and we drop this, what comes next? The cross in the MAs. And that's already when damage is done through to the downside. So if you get the correct move in Bitcoin and these things, guys, it's important not to sleep. Do you see this? Do you see how everyone is expecting lower points? And so am I. And we have the right to. We have the right to still think that there's lower time frames coming down. But do you see how we can also stay stuck in that mind frame? And we don't change it. I'm adamant. I have to have plan B. And plan B is this stuff slips before my eyes. I catch it early and I get my damn entries. Because we are not promised a lower low. We are getting sideways in these areas. So remember, guys, I am still thinking that there's a possibility of those lower points, but we can't allow the stuff to slip between our eyes. And this is why over 90%, even 99%, like they don't get the bottom. They don't get it. And that's a big thing. And I'm making sure that we can correct this and be better at this. Now, one thing that's also quite good right now is the stock market. It has rallied pretty good. But for me, even the little push and the good news that came, it still only retested my trend. So I do want to see stock market continue. It is a bit worrying that it's continued in one line like this and we're not getting any decent pullbacks because what usually indicates with that is something that just keeps going, eventually has a big crash, you know what I mean, or big pullback. So it is slightly concerning. But right now it has had a strong push and ultimately it held the moving average. So we're going to keep this MA over here. And when we drop the 20 MA on the daily, we'll give that indication early. Then we know we're going to the 50, and then only later we get the cross. And remember, the cross is just confirming that this is going to take time in the one direction. But you are late if you're using the cross. It's very delayed data. You want to catch the early data, which is this. So right now it's still strong, and it's holding the 20, and maybe it does break into trend. And that can obviously be a good sign for Bitcoin. Now, the next one is Dixie's collapsing. And look how it respects the moving averages, the 20. So you'll keep this 20 on the daily. And at any point we crack it like the way Bitcoin is doing it or something like that, then it'll give you that little indication. So these moving averages are great to help you just give you a basic understanding of like, hey, step one. Okay, step one means stay focused because something could be changing. Step two, okay, if we go to the next one, then that's important. Step three, cross all the trends. Do you see how you can set yourself these little templates and these little formats for you guys to be doing that? And right now, it's just dropping support. It's dropping another one over here. So Dixie looks weak, and it looks like it's coming down quite a bit as we speak right now, which is quite incredible, guys. So we can't sleep within these times. So I want to teach you again. I have to go back and go get punished. I just lost. But guys, don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep on this. I'm doing shows the whole of this weekend. I got another 2 streams this weekend where we can go through coins and these sort of things. But be aware that there can be a bottom. There can be a bottom, and a lot of people don't get it. And we have to use these moving averages, use what I just taught you. Because one more thing, guys, the reason why I'm saying it's also critically important here is if we look at the Bitcoin chart and we look at the stochastic, there's not much time left for the bears, in my opinion. And it's just using off of historical data. We are getting to the bottom on the weekly. And this, for me, has always been the most powerful signal, is the stochastic on the weekly. It's never lied. It's something that's been incredible. And we're getting down there again now. So crunch time for bears. But if all these signals turn bullish, you have to turn bullish, guys, and protect yourself where you need to, and know that the 20 MA is your protection and these sort of things. But you got to, because the stuff can turn so far and so quickly up. It can actually be incredible. So, guys, have a fantastic day. Please go support my Discord channel. I'll see you guys on the streamer then. But have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Much love, Vans fam. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat.